be solving multi-step inequalities. This is where we will keep using our addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division skills, although now we will be adding steps like distribution. So for our first example here, we have 4 times, parentheses, x plus 3 is greater than negative 24. So let's go ahead and distribute 4 to both of our terms within our parentheses. We have 4 times x, which gives us 4x, 4 times 3, which gives us plus 12, is greater than negative 24. From here, go ahead and solve. Remember, we must isolate our variable first. So let's subtract 12 from both sides. That leaves us with 4x is greater than negative 24 minus 12, which is negative 36. From here, to undo our coefficient, we must divide both sides by 4, which gives us x is greater than negative 9. Okay? Remember, when you subtract by a negative, you do not need to flip your inequality symbol, but if we were to multiply or divide by a negative number, that's when we would have to flip. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this on our number line. We have negative 9, a value greater than negative 9 would be negative 8, and a value less than would be negative 10. Okay, since this is just a greater than symbol, let's use an open point. And since our variable is on the left, we can shade the direction our inequality is facing, or the side that is greater than negative 9. Okay. One thing that I would recommend you guys do is work these problems out ahead of time, just to test some of your algebra skills we've been working on, and then check your answers with my work. So feel free to pause the video at any time. Okay, in our next example here, we will have to start with distribution to undo our parentheses. Remember, you have to include the sign that is being operated in front of your value that you will be distributing. If it's positive, nothing really changes, but if it's negative, make sure that we are distributing a negative 3, okay? So x stays on the outside, gives us x, negative 3 minus x gives us negative 3x, negative 3 times 2 gives us negative 6, is greater than 4. Okay, so now we have a couple of directions we can go from here. I would prefer if we would combine our like terms. Remember, if you have constants or variables that are like terms on one side of an equation, that you can go ahead and combine your like terms. So x minus 3x gives us negative 2x minus 6 is greater than 4. From here, let's isolate our variable. Add 6 to both sides, leaving us with negative 2x is greater than 4. Okay, so now let's undo our coefficient by dividing both sides by a negative 2. Remember, if we are dividing by a negative, we must flip our sign. So this leaves us with x, remember, flip our sign, is less than 4 divided by negative 2, which is just negative 2. All right, so let's go ahead and graph this on our number line. We have negative 2 in the center. A value above negative 2 would be negative 1, and a value below would be negative 3. Since we just have a less than symbol, let's use an open point. And since our variable is on the left side, let's shade the direction that our inequality is pointing, which would be the left or negative direction on our number line. All right. Our next example is extremely similar to the one that we just completed. Remember, since we are subtracting 7x from 2, then we need to distribute our -2 to both of our terms. So let's distribute our -2. This gives us 7x, -2 times x gives us -2x. -2 times -4 gives us +8. It's less than or equal to -2. Similarly to the last example, we have two sets of terms with x on the left side of our inequality. So let's go ahead and combine our like terms. 7x minus 2x gives us 5x plus 8 is less than or equal to -2. Now we just have a basic two-step equation. Let's go ahead and isolate our variable by subtracting our constant to both sides. This leaves us with 5x is less than or equal to -2 minus 8, which gives us -10. Okay, let's go ahead and divide our coefficient. Let's divide both sides by 5. We are dividing by a positive, so we do not need to flip our sign. This will leave us with x is less than or equal to -2. Okay, we can go ahead and graph this on our number line. Let's start with our -2. A value greater than -2 would be -1, and a value less than -2 would be -3. So let's go ahead and plot our point. We have an equal to symbol, so we will have to plot a solid point at -2. Our variable is on the left side, so let's shade the direction that our inequality is pointing, which would be to the left or the negative direction. All right. So the next two examples that we have here in the notes are extremely similar to the ones that we just went over. I would prefer that you guys try these ones on your own. And when you come to class, we will go over them as a class to ensure that everyone is on the same page. I expect that you will have attempted both of these questions, so I will be checking them off. Yet, we will go over the solutions in class as a warm-up. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please bring any questions you have to class.